Thank you for hearing me out during our Coast Guard hearing yesterday about our need for a new cutter on the Mississippi River. I understand you do a lot of great work with U.S. Coast Guard, and you talked about some of the interdictions already. So I just want to extend my sincere gratitude to you and the men and women at CBP for all of the work you do to not only care for those individuals, as was just discussed in the last line of questioning, but to really keep our country safe, to stand up to those terrorists, those transnational crime organizations, the traffickers who are taking advantage of those very people every single day. So thank you for what you're doing to help keep them and all of us safe. We know under the Biden administration, every state became a border state. Even states like Iowa, we saw those consequences firsthand through fentanyl. We saw those consequences through illegal drugs flooding into our communities, putting American lives, Iowa lives at risk. So I'm grateful to the president for taking that action on day one. I mean, you talked about a 95% decrease year over year. That is incredible to see those numbers shift in the other way. And we know you need the necessary tools, the authorities to be able to execute and do that job. We didn't need new policy, we needed a new president. And we consistently heard from Border Patrol under the previous administration, you felt your hands were tied. Agents were telling me they didn't feel that they could do their jobs effectively, specifically the jobs that they were trained to do. So I'm excited to see a return to core mission here. So thank you for helping to lead that. President Trump's policies, reinstating Remain in Mexico, changing over the CBP1 app to make it the CBP Home app, resuming border wall construction, as you talked about, the barrier construction as well. Those are all established and proven tools to really help us to deter illegal immigration and, again, empower our frontline agents to be able to do their jobs. So which of the Biden-era policy reversals would you say have been most effective in having the greatest impact on enforcement, deterrence, and the safety and morale of your agents and officers?
So I would say actually enforcing our immigration laws and providing consequences to those that break that law. So our ability to get out of processing, caretaking, transportation, a lot of those administrative or non-Leo type enforcements that we had agents and officers doing on a regular and reoccurring basis, we're able now to get them to do law enforcement type work, to patrol the border, to create deterrence, to make those arrests, have time to interview aliens that we're encountering on, and develop further information and intelligence in order to continue prosecutions and to continue down the road in regards to closing off aspects of the border that were open. The other piece I think that significantly helped us is the inject of equipment, personnel from DOD, being able to have more line of sight, being able to have more technology, to have more coverage on the border, allowing our agents to be able to respond and intercept and actually arrest those individuals crossing our border. So we've seen—
You're talking like automated surveillance and
Right.
towers,
Absolutely.
cameras.
So
that kind
our
of-
automated autonomous surveillance towers and that type of technology that we're using across the board today. The increase of what we're doing from aircraft and unmanned aircraft patrols on the border to provide additional visibility and reaction time for our agents. So those have significantly helped in what we're seeing today in those numbers. The other piece is the consistent messaging for us, not only within what's happening at the border and within the U.S., but to countries that we had seen aliens arrive at our border from. So that messaging, and the messaging obviously matches the consequences that are being provided.
Well, it's very clear with that reduction in numbers coming across the border, and to my colleague's earlier point about and making sure people are cared for, you're clearly able to do that because you have fewer people that you're having in custody. And I think that that's really important, that you can redirect those resources where they need to go. And again, I think that probably is a good morale booster for the workforce as well. Can you speak to a little bit the broader cost savings from the changes that have been made under the Trump administration? You talk about interdiction, deterrence, being able to use some of these automated technologies like the CBP Home app. How are those efforts helping you to carry out your mission more effectively? I mean, I remember coming down to my colleague Tony Gonzalez's district and seeing those soft-sided facilities that now we don't have to pay for anymore. So how have you been able to really maximize those savings?
So I think the first thing I'll start with is being able to get our law enforcement officers back to doing law enforcement work. So we've cut man-hours there in regards to non-law enforcement work and being able to patrol the border, which makes us more effective and efficient based on using law enforcement hours for law enforcement work. That'd be the first thing I'd mention. The other thing I would say on the soft-sided facilities. So soft-sided facilities were costing us about $83 million a month is what that was costing us. So with the ability, with the numbers being significantly lowered, with our in-custody numbers, again, down from 20,000 people every day that we had individuals in custody, down to 500 to 800 a day, we were able to shut down all those soft-sided facilities. So saving the American taxpayers $83 million each month on the cost of that. So being able to take that be able to do that internally with the resources was a significant savings for the American taxpayer. I would say that in regards to the CBP Home app and what we're doing, it's a cost-effective way to allow individuals that are here illegally or undocumented to be able to get back to their home countries on their own. It's cheaper than providing for custody and providing for transportation flights with ICE, who typically does that transportation. So it is a cost savings mechanism that allows for those in the country to depart on their own terms.
Well, thank you for the great work you're doing, Acting Commissioner, and appreciate you coming to testify today. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.